In 2003, Madhouse produced Ninja Scoll, the TV series. The TV series continues the adventures of Jubei and Dakuan, only this time around, Jubei has to deliver the Dragonstone to Shigure, who is destined to become the Light Maiden. Things become more complicated when the Dragonstone breaks in half, and Jubei is forced to protect Shigure from not only our old friends the KImon, but the Hiruko Clan as well. Hands down, the best thing about Ninja Scoll, the TV series, is Jubei. The TV series solidifies Jubei as a badass loner hero, similar in vein to James Bond or Conan. Jubei is my favorite kind of hero. He just wanders around doing his own thing and adventures just happen around him. Come to think of it, the best way to describe Jubei is to imagine Han Solo as a Ronin in feudal Japan. Jubei desperately wants to be a despicable, selfish person, but his heart always gets the better of him. He tries not to get involved, but his sense of justice forces him to. He may not be able to see the good in himself, but the others around him always believe in him. Jubei Kibagami is an excellent example of the flawed hero who will always do the right thing, and he is the strongest aspect of the Ninja Scoll TV show, which is a plus. But on the downside, as a whole, the Ninja Scoll series is a disappointment. The problem with the series is it takes a story that would have been great for a 90-minute movie and it stretches it out to 13 episodes. The show feels very padded and it suffers from the villain of the week syndrome. Every episode is basically bad ninja shows up, tries to steal the Dragonstone, then Jubei fights them, rinse and repeat, making the show feel very monotonous and predictable. Ninja Scoll the series also suffers from the same lack of character development that was present in the movie. Like the film, the series tries to keep the audience invested with great fight scenes, but what works in a movie doesn't work in a show. After a while, the fight scenes start to become boring, and you just want the characters to start talking to each other. All of the best TV shows are based on deep characters and complicated interpersonal relationships. The nuanced personalities and conflicting points of view is what makes shows like Berserk so good, but unfortunately, Ninja Scoll has none of that. It falls back on fight scene after fight scene, and you're left not caring about any of the characters. I really wanted to like Shigure, but she's treated the same way the movie treated Kagero. She's completely underdeveloped and is relegated to the background when she should have been the central focus of the show.
Do you think Shigure knows what happened to the last chick who was hanging out with these guys? Yikes!
The best episode of the series is Shelter from the Rain. This episode finds Jubei poisoned and taken in by a lonely widow and her son. As the widow nurses Jubei back to health, she tells him her husband was killed by a ninja and she will not rest until she gets her revenge. Obviously, through a strange twist of fate, the woman finds out Jubei is the ninja who killed her husband, and she must decide what to do with the man she was previously caring for. Shelter from the Rain represents everything the Ninja Scoll series should have been. It has its fair share of action, but the tension between Jubei and the widow is the driving force of this episode. This episode deals with the futility of honor and revenge, and how a person shouldn't become a slave to their principles. If you only watch one episode of the Ninja Scoll series, this is the episode to watch, and it's a shame there weren't more episodes like Shelter from the Rain. I did like the music in the series. I thought the rock music was a nice change from the score of the original film. The song Sure Shot makes a good fight theme, but the problem is they play it over and over, and most people will probably end up getting sick of hearing it.
At least they didn't get this guy to do the fight theme.
相手の夢をかき集め探し物探しに行くのさ One Piece.
How did you see that jerk?
My favorite song is Shigure's theme. It's epic and mysterious, and it is the perfect hero theme.
I know I complained about all anime themes sounding alike, but Ninja Scoll would have benefited from a female-sung J-rock ballad. I appreciate they try to do something different, but the theme they have now just feels stale. If only there was someone to sing a better song for the opening.
Hello!
Why, if it isn't Japanese AV superstar Yuma Asami.
Nice to meet you!
Yuma, do you think you could sing a better song?
Yes!
太陽は教えてどこから顔を出して登るのどんな気持ちがするのだろう To be safe.
Well, it just goes to show, whether it's an opening theme or eating a banana, Yuma Asami makes everything better.
Visually, the series looks really cool. I love these shots at sunset, and the burning village in the first episode looks amazing. The character designs have lost a lot of the Kawajiri-isms and have more of a conventional TV look. But I do like the design of Shigure. She looks like a secret character from Last Blade. And I like Yamidoro too. He looks like he should be the boss in a Genesis shooter. For the most part, the Ninja Scoll TV series is a disappointment, and unless you're a fan, it's probably best to skip it. However, there is another alternative. If you're dead set on seeing a really good Ninja Scoll TV show, you should watch Basilisk. As mentioned previously, Ninja Scoll is inspired by Yamada's Koga Ninja Scrolls. Basilisk is a direct adaptation of the Koga Ninja Scrolls. And it's incredible how many ideas Kawajiri stole from Yamada. Both have a kunoichi who controls snakes, both have a villain with the power of resurrection, both have a kunoichi from the Koga clan named Kagero, who kills people with sex, both have a blind swordsman. To a large extent, Basilisk feels more like a Ninja Scoll TV show than the Ninja Scoll TV show. Although if you do watch it, be prepared to cry. I was bawling like a baby by the last episode.
You are such a bitch.
Since I brought up Basilisk, it's also worth touching upon Ninja Resurrection. The fascinating thing about Ninja Resurrection is that in America, it was marketed as a direct sequel to Ninja Scoll in an effort to dupe Ninja Scoll fans into watching it. As a result, Ninja Resurrection is pretty much universally hated amongst American anime fans.
日曜なんて大嫌いです。
You
さて
must be talking.
日曜嫌いなのか
大嫌いです。
Even though Ninja Resurrection isn't a sequel to Ninja Scoll, there is a connection. Ninja Resurrection is based off of Makai Tensho, which is another book by Yamada and featured his character Jubei Yagyo. Makai Tensho was also adapted into the 1981 film Samurai Reincarnation starring Sonny Chiba, which Kawajiri also drew inspiration from for the visual look of Ninja Scoll. If you understand the context of Ninja Resurrection and go into it knowing it's not a Ninja Scoll sequel, it's actually not that bad of an OVA, and it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the other Makai Tensho adaptations. The first episode really has a great action sequence and excellent cinematography towards the end. Also, Ninja Resurrection really manages to capture the intensity of Sonny Chiba with their design of Jubei. It's just unfortunate that the OVA is unfinished. It was intended to be 3 episodes, but only 2 were produced. Lastly, in 2006, Wildstorm released a 12-issue Ninja Scoll comic series. The comic was mainly produced independently, with no involvement from Kawajiri. The comic is basically a collection of short stories that detail the further adventures of Jubei, sort of like the TV series, only without the overarching story. The comic features the artwork of Michael Chang Ting Yu and John Boy Myers. I really like the artwork of Michael Chang Ting Yu. It reminds me of the artwork of Ryoichi Ikegami, and it perfectly fits the tone and spirit of Ninja Scoll. John Boy Myers' artwork is okay, and it kind of feels like Jason Howard's work on The Astounding Wolfman, but Michael Chang Ting Yu's art is a better fit, and he really should have been the only illustrator for this book. The comic is mostly okay, and is really just made for hardcore fans of Jubei. The 3 stories that stand out are Jigoku, Tangu, and Obakemono. Jigoku has Jubei going to hell, where he meets up with the slain members of the KImon clan as well as Kagero. Jigoku is basically Ninja Scroll's greatest hits, and it's basically just meant to sucker people flipping through the pages into buying it, which worked on me. When I saw the cover with Jubei and Shigure, I thought it was going to be a continuation of the TV show, but Shigure is nowhere to be found, and the Jubei goes to hell angle is just a plot device for writer Jay Torres to say, hey, remember Tessai? Remember Mushizo? Wasn't it cool when the bees came out of his back? What about Kagero? We all love Kagero. Jigoku is a waste of time and does nothing to add to the Ninja Scoll mythos. It's only worth mentioning because of its forced connection with the original film. Up next is Tangu, which follows Jubei as he gets involved with a war between a human village and a clan of Tangu ninja. Out of all of the stories, Tangu is the story I could see being an actual follow-up to the original Ninja Scoll. And at times it reminds me of Kurosawa's Yojimbo. It does a really great job of doing away with the conventional ideas of good guys and bad guys and leaves you wondering who the real villains really were. My favorite story was Obakemono, which has Jubei fighting the first vampire in Japan. Michael Chang Ting Yu's art is really creepy, and Jay Torres does a good job in crafting a flat-out horror story. Vampires may not be a perfect fit for Ninja Scroll, but this comic could have been a standalone movie. I would love to see a live-action film about samurai in feudal Japan trying to figure out how to kill a vampire. Altogether, the Ninja Scroll comic has a few bright spots, but is really only intended for die-hard fans of Ninja Scroll and people very familiar to the series' mythology. The Ninja Scroll franchise is a great example of the law of diminishing returns, in the sense that each installment gets a little bit worse than the one that came before. The movie is awesome, but the TV show isn't as good as the movie, and the comic isn't as good as the TV show, and it's a hell of a lot worse than the movie. But I can't recommend the original film enough, both as a great example of Kawajiri's ability as a filmmaker, and just an all-out excellent anime action film. The TV show's a bit wonky. It's fun, and it's worth checking out if you're interested in the further adventures of Jubei and Dakuan, but it lacks a lot of substance. If you don't care about Jubei and just want to see a good ninja show that has the spirit of Ninja Scroll, then watch Basilisk. The comic is just for fanboys going through Ninja Scroll withdrawals. It has some cool stuff, but the only people who are going to get anything out of it are people who are already huge fans.